Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email us, Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase pricing and availability questions concerning this watch. We need to review some Ploprof history, guys. The original 1971 Omega Seamaster 600-meter Plongeur Professionnel, or Ploprof, was developed with a view to selling it to Comex, the famous undersea services company generally associated with Rolex. Comex never took up the original Plongeur Professionnel, but the 600-meter became one of the most aggressive and distinctive dive watches of the 1970s. Fast forward to 2009, Omega brings it back as the Seamaster 1200-meter in steel with a date and a solid caseback. That watch is bigger, more technically advanced, and a lot more aggressive than the 1971 original. The 2009 watch, in turn, redesigned as a second generation, now available in titanium with a display caseback, a master chronometer movement, and a no-date dial for the 2015 model year. That watch, the second generation 1200 meter, gave way to this in 2023. This is the Ploprof Summer Blue, but don't be distracted by the dial. It is a completely new watch, and we're going to go over all the reasons. Let's start with the fact that this is steel. And the example you're looking at may be unique because someone ponied up when they bought this at the Omega Boutique in Frankfurt, and they spec'd a full steel mesh bracelet and clasp. This watch, stock, comes with a blue rubber strap. So what you're getting here is all Omega, make no mistake, but someone ponied up extra money to put it on this shark-proof mesh bracelet. Every other example you'll see with this reference number online is on a strap. It was never factory sold with the bracelet, but the bracelet is a proper fitting factory piece, so this is all Omega and very correct to the brand. But let's talk about size here, because this is much smaller than the previous 1200 meter. The one element that doesn't change is this sort of 9:3 measurement, the destination end-to-end down your wrist that starts more or less at your cuff and concludes at your wrist bone. That's still 55 millimeters. It's 55.2 millimeters. But now here's where things start to change. Previous Ploprofs were over 18.5 millimeters thick. This one's 15.6. Previous Ploprofs, and we're talking the 1200 meter here, were 48 millimeters lug-to-lug. This one's 45. It's still 24 millimeters between the lugs, which is why this previous generation bracelet fits on it. And it'll take any 24 millimeter sized strap, but critically, it fits this Omega factory mesh bracelet. You'll also note that there are a lot of changes. The helium escape valve used to be mounted on the shoulder here. Now it's mounted inboard. You can see that the scalloping of the case is relatively new. The crown now works a lot more like the original 1970s version. So instead of rising on two pillars like the previous 1200 meter, when you screw this crown out, it's actually a combination of a threaded collar and then the crown proper. So the crown is not the part that you turn. Now you can see I'm able to manipulate the time. There's hacking seconds if I wish. There's also an intermediate position for setting the hour. That does not hack the watch, but allows me to travel easily. So this whole setup here, this is a very different way for a 1200 meter Seamaster crown to work. Media blast and polish, but it now works like the original 600 meter. You'll also note that in addition to a solid caseback, this is now a monoblock case, so there's no seam between the caseback and the case proper. A much more robust way of building a super deep diver, and also part of the reason this watch is so much thinner. Monoblock case, such a big deal, they advertise it, and you have these striations on the back with the image of Neptune or Poseidon with his double hippocampus chariot, the two seahorses right there, along a symbol of the Seamaster since the first came out in 1948. Remember, the first Seamaster diver didn't come out until 1957. But the point here is that this is now a very different case. Every single part is different compared to the previous 1200 meter. The other thing you'll notice is that there's a little bit of a different profile to the bezel, and that the plunger that releases the bezel now has this crinkle cut sort of ruffled potato chip profile, just like the caseback, just like the knurling of the bezel. The way this works is the same as it's ever worked on a Ploprof. The bezel can turn in either direction, but the bezel is released when you press the plunger, and only when you press the plunger. A change here compared to the second generation is that we've gone back to the sapphire bezel insert of the 2009 model. So all of the colors are actually on the underside of the sapphire disc, and if you're wondering, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There you go. 60 click bezel, but I'll say this, the feel of the click is better than the previous version. The sapphire protects the lume underneath. Also, the sapphire is designed to mimic the plexiglass crystal that would have been featured on the bezel of the original 1970s 600 meter. So that's one of the reasons they've gone back to the sapphire, for aesthetic reasons. Taking a look, you can see that this bezel is fully luminescent. You can read every single minute as it passes. You also appreciate that the bezel index is huge, and so the minute hand and the bezel index are green, so you can easily acquire them relative to each other and time your dive. Also note the luminescence of the seconds hand. Not every dive watch does that. I don't know why, but they should all have lumed seconds hand so you know if your dive timer is working. Even if it's just a backup dive timer, you should know. The knurling's a pleasure to grip, and it really is easy to grip if your hands are wet, sweaty, or gloved. The crystal, as you can see, is set somewhat below the plane of the chapter ring or the chimney between bezel and crystal, and then we have a dial with the summer blue gradient fade. It's a really great look. Silver blue at center, navy blue at the edge. Take a good look and you can see that the individual indices are actually solid blocks of luminescent material, which is a new treatment. And so you can see this is not just a color job. This is not just a different color dial. The fabrication with the solid block luminescence is a very new thing for the Ploprof. You can also see how huge that broadsword minute hand is to make it more prominent. 1,200 meters, yes, I know that's not exactly 4,000 feet. We're just going to press the I believe button. You got the helium escape valve, something the 600 meter did not have, but every version of the 1,200 meter has had. And then under the case back, you've got caliber 8912, which is basically the Note 8 version of the Master Chronometer 8900. 2 barrels, automatic winding, 60-hour power reserve, stop seconds, time zone function. Free sprung with a full balance bridge for toughness, anti-magnetic escapement, balance staff, silicone hairspring, master chronometer, which means a 6-position cased-up chronometry test that exceeds the COSC, though it also meets that, plus tests of winding efficiency, power reserve, water resistance, durability, and anti-magnetism, effectively an amagnetic movement. And this movement with twin barrels, a nice flat torque curve over its 60 hours of power reserve, so it's not going to ebb and flow. It's not going to gain a lot when it's highly wound and lose a lot as it winds down. Again, a flat torque curve, very important for isochronism. Lots to love right here, and possibly my favorite version of the reborn Ploprof. Easily the easiest to wear, and we'll put it on my wrist one more time, guys. Even if your wrist is 14 centimeters, it's so short across the wrist that it actually doesn't come anywhere near the edge of your wrist, and I'm pulling this thing down tight. It is a surprisingly wearable watch that is long but not broad, and it's got a nice satisfying weight to it. Taking a look at the bracelet, you can see that it has satin finish on the top of the fabric-like links, and then polish and profile. You use a block and punch to size it, but it does size like a regular bracelet with removable links. We have a thick gauge steel folding clasp here. Twin trigger release, only opens when you press both triggers. There is a huge scope of incremental adjustment internally using the push button slider, but there's also a fold out all or nothing dive extension giving about 50 millimeters of total extensible length. And it's a really cool look. Again, one of my favorite Omega divers of all time. And with the bracelet, this one may be the only one of its kind. If you love this watch, reach out to Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase and pricing details. One last note, some people will ask, what does coaxial mean? Well, George Daniels was a British watchmaker. In 1974, he came up with this idea for a tangential friction double impulse escapement. One impulse direct, one impulse indirect. That's not really important. What is important is that the friction is tangential, whereas on conventional Swiss lever, it is sliding friction. So by reducing the friction, which Omega implemented in 1999 on its first coaxials, you extend power reserve, reduce lubrication needs, extend the maintenance intervals, and you improve chronometry. With these tri-level coaxials, all of the original goals of Daniels have now been realized with a movement that is everyday durable, but still has some of the exotic cool factor of independent watchmaking. So reach out to Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase and pricing details.